Free Caitlin Clark. Welcome back to Only Talk Sports, where we talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. Christie Sides, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, definitely needs to listen to what I have to say in this video, because she is taking a lot of heat right now because of the fact that Caitlin Clark, the star player of the WNBA, and the reason that a lot of people are paying attention to the league at all, she's not getting enough shots. And Christie Sides, she doesn't even know what to do about it. She doesn't know how to get Caitlin Clark more shots. So all she has to do is say, oh yeah, Caitlin Clark needs to shoot more. Well, guess what, Christie Sides? You can't just ask Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball more when she's never open and you're not doing anything to get her open. So I'm going to go over the whole Caitlin Clark debacle that's going on in the WNBA with what's going on with her on and off the floor, and the reason I believe that she needs to be freed and be able to be like every other WNBA player and just be able to play basketball the right way. Now, Caitlin Clark, she is a phenomenal player. She deserves all the accolades that she has got for what she did in women's college basketball and now in the WNBA. She has boosted the ratings for women's college basketball and now the WNBA by so much. I mean, people are paying attention to these teams and these sports by so much more than they used to. I've even tuned in sometimes every now and then to see what's going on, all because of Caitlin Clark. And you can say I'm not a true fan of the WNBA or women's college basketball just because I haven't watched till now. That's fine, but most people will say the exact same thing. So somebody had to bring interest to these leagues, and Caitlin Clark has done it. And nobody's expecting the Indiana Fever to be a fantastic team this season because they've been a bad team the past few years. They have not really had a lot of success in the WNBA. Other teams have had way more success in the league since it was founded back in the 90s. The Indiana Fever have always usually been one of the worst teams. So Caitlin Clark joining the league, that's not going to automatically make the Indiana Fever a great team. But Christie Sides still could be doing a better job of allowing Caitlin Clark to do her thing, and that would help increase the eyeballs on the league still, because people want to see her. People want to see her shoot shots like she did in college, like Stephon Curry bombing those 35-foot threes. And even if the Indiana Fever are losing, people will still come and watch the Indiana Fever anyway and these other WNBA teams. And I know that sounds like a money cash grab, where I'm just saying that Christie Sides needs to let her shoot the ball and that's it. Nobody else needs to score. But that's not what I'm saying. The other players on the Indiana Fever could still shoot the ball and score when they are open, but Caitlin Clark is never open. It's almost like they are purposely not allowing her to get open shots. They're never setting screens for her. They're never running plays for her. We see in the NBA all the time some of the best players in the NBA that get double teamed and triple teamed at times because of how good that they are. They're still able to score because the coaches end up drawing up plays where the other players on the team help their star player get shots, which is what people want to see, and it helps the team win. But the Indiana Fever are not doing that, and it's really frustrating people because, as you can see, this person tweeted right here, I can't watch Christie Sides coach anymore, and they have this guy beating up the TV, which you absolutely cannot blame him for feeling that way. And I wrote that Christie Sides is not a good coach. Now, am I saying that she should be fired? Not necessarily, because she's only been the coach for 2 years, and I'm not really a believer in anybody getting fired that quickly, even though we are seeing unprecedented times where coaches are getting fired after 1 year, like Monty Williams, or Adrian Griffin got fired after basically 40 games in the NBA at the Milwaukee Bucks, which is crazy. So Christie Sides is not necessarily safe. The WNBA is a little bit different, but I would not be surprised if she got fired after this season. But I'm not saying she should, but she needs to start doing a better job coaching. And the reason why I feel so bad for Caitlin Clark, and I'm saying that she needs to be freed, is not just for what's going on the floor. What she's been going through off the floor is sick as well, because the media has been treating her terribly, like Stephen A. Smith, which I made an entire video on about how he's been acting toward Caitlin Clark. So many media members have been acting toward Caitlin Clark. It's sad when even LeBron James is stepping up for Caitlin Clark and saying that she is great for the WNBA and she just needs to focus on basketball and not all of this outside noise, which I think Caitlin Clark has done a fantastic job of doing. So when LeBron James is talking better than most media members, that is a very sad thing. Plus, people have been bullying her on the floor like Angel Reese and a lot of other players in the WNBA, they've been knocking her down, hitting all over. And you could say that's just a basketball move, but some of the stuff seems targeted. And Caitlin Clark, she is avoiding all the fire. She is not saying anything negative about these players. She's not saying that there's any ulterior motive there, but it is dumb of those players to be treating her that way because of the fact that she is a reason they're getting more attention. That's why people are watching the sport, because of her, and they don't like that. They are jealous of her, and it's absolutely sick. And then she's got her own head coach telling her that she needs to shoot the ball more, but she's not going to do anything to help her get shots, which is absolutely sick. It just seems like everybody is against Caitlin Clark, and it is sad. Christie Sides did say that they needed to set some really good screens for Caitlin Clark to get her open, but nothing has been done to actually help Caitlin Clark get open shots. And Clark has taken fewer field goal attempts this season than her teammate Kelsey Mitchell by over 20 field goals, which I think is insane. I mean, Caitlin Clark is a shooting machine, so she should be getting the most shots on the team. And she's actually averaging slightly less points than Kelsey Mitchell, even though Kelsey Mitchell's shooting like 3 more shots per game. So you tell me who's the better player. If Caitlin Clark was shooting as many shots as Kelsey Mitchell was, then she would be averaging more points per game. Plus, Kelsey Mitchell's been in the WNBA for 6 years, and yet she's still only averaging 16 points per game, whereas Caitlin Clark is a rookie, and she's not getting as many field goal attempts, and she's being double and triple teamed half the time, whereas Kelsey Mitchell rarely is double teamed. So that's absolutely insane. Caitlin Clark is the best player on the team. Aaliyah Boston, who was also a top draft pick for the Indiana Fever, she's not a bad player, but she's only averaging 13 points per game. And then when you look further down the roster, there's a lot of players on the bench for the Indiana Fever that are not all that good, like Christy Wallace and Erica Wheeler. Grace Berger, who was a really good college player out of Indiana, Christie Sides won't even play. So trust me, the Indiana Fever, they're not all that good, but Christie Sides is not helping this team out in any way by not giving Caitlin Clark enough shots, not allowing her to get open, and not even running plays for her, and not playing some of the bench players that they have that are actually better than some of the bench players that they are playing. Plus, when you look at the fact that some people are trying to gaslight and say, well, Caitlin Clark's shooting less, and the Indiana Fever are winning more now. That is absolutely ridiculous and technically not true, because when you look at the schedule that the Indiana Fever have played this season, all of the games that they have won recently have been against bad teams, like the Atlanta Dream and the Washington Mystics, and also the Chicago Sky. All of those teams are not the best, and that's who the Indiana Fever have been defeating. Whereas early in the year, when Caitlin Clark was shooting more and she was actually scoring more points, they were barely losing against the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun, 2 of the best teams in the WNBA. So actually, even though the Indiana Fever are winning lately, they were playing better basketball earlier in the season because they were competing against these great WNBA teams, the best teams in the WNBA, when Caitlin Clark was scoring more. And when you look at Caitlin Clark's field goal chart, she was shooting the ball 16, 17, 15 times early in the season, and now she's barely getting 11 to 12 shots a game. It's absolutely ridiculous. Caitlin Clark needs to be freed in all aspects of the game. People need to leave her alone off the floor. These media members need to stop bringing up all of this garbage against Caitlin Clark that should not be said. She is a fantastic player. She needs more shots. She should be getting the most shots on her team. It would bring more eyeballs to the WNBA, and all of this bad press that the WNBA is getting would be going away, and it would help the other players in the WNBA too. It would help give them better press and coverage, and more people will be interested in the league maybe if people were sticking up for Caitlin Clark instead of dragging her down. The WNBA players should be ashamed the way that they're acting toward her. The media should be ashamed the way they're acting toward Caitlin Clark. And Christie Sides needs to do a better job as the Indiana Fever head coach to support Caitlin Clark, and instead of not giving her shots and acting like she needs to shoot more and we need to do a better job of setting screens, well, you need to do that, Christie Sides. You need to go out there and do your job and give your best player on the floor more shots and be her support system when everybody else in the WNBA on and off the floor has not. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below whether you agree with me that Christie Sides needs to do a better job of giving Caitlin Clark more shots, and that Caitlin Clark needs to be freed of all of this mess that's going on against her on and off the floor in the WNBA. And if you believe things are going to change for the better in the future, or if everybody's still going to keep treating Caitlin Clark very poorly, follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.